Hey everyone, it is Dani and welcome to this update video on what is happening across the tropics. And so of course in this video we'll be focusing on what is going on across the Caribbean. So there is that chance for increased rainfall across sections of the region, and with that increased rainfall there is also the potential for flooding across some areas. And so we'll be taking a look at all that is expected as we're going to be heading into the next several days, and is there still a chance for us to see some sort of development. So we'll be looking at all of that in this update video. And so before I go into details, please do subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you never miss an important update. And to show your support for the channel, you can leave a like on this video. Alright, and so let us go ahead and talk about what is going on. So we're taking a look at the current satellite imagery, infrared satellite, and we're seeing here that we are seeing quite a bit of activity in the South Caribbean and also across sections of the Central Caribbean. And we also see a bit of activity as we drift more towards the west to the northwestern Caribbean in the vicinity of areas such as Belize. But looking to the Eastern Caribbean, we're not seeing too much going on, maybe just some passing clouds across some sections of the Windward Islands and Trinidad and Tobago. So nothing too much, but more activity is definitely seen inland of the northern South American countries such as Venezuela and Colombia. And so guys, we are definitely seeing where things in terms of activity has been quite consistent as that area of low pressure sits over the South Caribbean, because of course low pressure areas are where we would find all of that shower and thunderstorm activity taking place. And as we take a closer look at the system, here we have it just to the north of Panama. We see all of that shower and thunderstorm activity, some of which is making its way inland. And so as we're going to be progressing into the next several days, it is likely that there will be increased rainfall across the Caribbean, as I said. So let's go ahead and now take a look at what is expected from the various models. And we're going to be starting out with the GFS. And so this map is showing the isobars, which are those black squiggly lines. They represent areas of equal pressure, and so when they're in a circular manner and the pressure is below 1013 millibars, we could be looking at a tropical cyclone. And the GFS is showing something a bit interesting, and but we're really going to be focusing on this map for the moisture. So the browns represent areas of dry air, and the darker the brown is, the more abundant dry air is within the area. Same goes for the teal, but it's just that the teal represents moisture, which is where we would typically see more rainfall activity. So the darker the teal, the more rainfall or the more moisture is within the area. And so as we take a look at the forecast here for Friday, going to the end of the week, we see quite a bit of increased moisture across sections of the South Caribbean and eventually making its way further into portions of Central America such as Nicaragua, Honduras, and even up to Belize, as a cold front is going to be making its way down from the US. And then as we go ahead and take a look at this total accumulated precipitation map here, this is actually between now and Sunday. So just the next 3 days, in the next 72 hours. So this isn't extensive into all of next week, but between that time, between now and Sunday, the GFS is showing that we're going to be seeing quite a bit of rainfall activity across sections of the South Caribbean and also the Northwestern Caribbean. So Trinidad and Tobago, the ABC Islands, of course, parts of Guyana, Colombia, Venezuela, also portions of Panama, Nicaragua, Honduras, maybe Belize and Mexico. So this is very interesting what we're seeing for the next couple of days. As I said, that increased rainfall can trigger flash flooding across some areas. So periods of extensive heavy rainfall can result in flooding and also mudslides. So guys, whenever there is a heavy rainfall event, please do not take any unnecessary risks. Do not attempt to cross flooded roadways. And as we go ahead and take a look at the Euro model now, we're seeing that Euro isn't showing too much happening. We don't see a whole lot of moisture across sections of the Caribbean as you're going to be heading into this weekend. We definitely see it, but it's just not as plentiful as what the GFS is expecting. The model is also expecting that we're going to have all that moisture entering the Caribbean as we progress to the middle part of next week. And in terms of the total accumulated precipitation, the Euro is showing a bit less rainfall, but still increased rainfall across the same areas, parts of the Windward Islands, Trinidad and Tobago, ABC Islands, northern South America, and parts of Central America, as we're going to be heading into Sunday. And then the CMC model, the Canadian model, is showing something pretty interesting in terms of possible development. So all this moisture, it is going to be streaming in the region, yes, and in the presence of favorable conditions, there is the possibility of us seeing tropical cyclone development. However, as for the National Hurricane Center's 5-day outlook, there are no indications that, hey, we might have a disturbance or something might form within the next couple of days. So that is currently not there. But regardless, a tropical cyclone is not needed for severe rainfall activity to take place, guys. So a tropical wave through the hurricane season was enough to cause significant flooding across some areas. But all this moisture coming in could have the same effect. So please take all the necessary precautions and stay safe. So the Canadian model is showing something quite interesting as we're going to be progressing into the next several days. And so this is for next Tuesday onwards. And so we see that we have a broad low pressure area developing in the vicinity of the South Caribbean and making its way across Central America, getting picked up by a front that is going to be making its way out of the Gulf of Mexico at that time. And so this is very interesting here. What we're seeing, this is certainly not impossible, but development of any sort is going to be dependent on the favorability of the environment in terms of the very warm sea surface temperatures. Are they dominant? The wind shear is another major factor that influences development. Is the shear conducive? And also moisture. So a moist region would more than likely brew more shower and thunderstorm activity, as the atmosphere is quite unstable within such a region. So instability is what results in all that shower and thunderstorm activity. In terms of that wind shear, looking at this map right here, we have the green that indicates favorable wind shear. That is what is conducive for tropical cyclone development. The yellow that indicates neutral wind shear, and the red that indicates unfavorable wind shear. And so with the white outline of the Caribbean region, we also see the Americas being outlined, and we're seeing that the unfavorable wind shear is very dominant right now. So as of right now, in terms of the shear, conditions are not conducive for us to see development very imminently. So if things are going to be changing and we're going to be seeing more of the favorable and maybe the neutral shear starting to take over parts of the South Caribbean, then maybe there will be that increased chance for us to see development. But as of now, things are quite unfavorable in terms of the wind shear, and the Caribbean is located in the tropics, so of course there will be warm sea surface temperatures all year round, but just warmer during the 6-month period of the hurricane season. And we're seeing that 29 degrees Celsius isotherm across majority of the Caribbean. That is quite favorable for us to see some developments taking place. However, as I said, tropical cyclones are not needed for some severe flooding events to take place. So if you're in any of the regions that I listed earlier, in terms of where is expected to receive all of that increased rainfall, please, guys, take all the necessary precautions and stay safe. And I'll reiterate that you should not take any unnecessary risks with any heavy rainfall events. And of course, I'll keep you updated. So if you have any questions, you can leave them down in the comments, and you can also share your thoughts there. And of course, remember to always be weatherwise.